KTRF, fair sky, the sun is shining, 33 degrees on our way to a high near 55 today. We'll tell you more about that coming up in our weather. Right now, the sports report, scores and schedules with Wade Allen. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Bob. Good morning, buddy. Happy Friday to you. You made it to the weekend, and it was an active Thursday for sports. We got some local games in yesterday. Let's start with high school softball, where Badger, Greenbush, Middle River all over the Northern Freeze yesterday, 16-0. And it was Red Lake Falls over Sacred Heart in high school softball, 9-2. We had a couple baseball games on the radio for you. Mark was up in Canada yesterday for Northern Freeze in Game 1, taking on Kits County Central. The Northern Freeze in Sacred Heart in Game 2 yesterday afternoon on North Country 99.3.
Sports, and what a great game to start the afternoon. Northern Freeze and Kits County Central. A great pitching matchup. Brock Scalise and Tanner Torgerson. Scalise goes 9 innings, throws 103 pitches, gave up just 1 run on 5 hits, no walks.
That's a lot.
And Tanner Torgerson
for a high school kid, isn't it?
Pitches, gave up just
First game of the year for him, too.
Oof.
Strikeouts, but neither will figure into the final because when they both left, it was tied 1-1. It was that way all the way until the 11th inning, when finally the Freeze would get a couple of runs off of relief pitcher Ashton Knudsen, who takes the loss, and the Freeze would win it in extra innings, 3-1. What a great game. Freeze will improve to 3-2. The loss, the Bearcats dropped to 0-1. It was their season opener. Scalise and Torgerson, a great outing. Alex Bray actually will get the win. Does a nice job in relief. The Freeze, 3 runs, 6 hits, 1 error, strand 11 on base, with Alex Bray getting the win. The Bearcats, 1 run, 5 hits, 2 errors, strand 6 on base, and Ashton Knudsen getting the loss. Again, Freeze 3-1 win in 11 innings. Second one was a little shorter. It goes just 6 innings. Freeze got nothing going. No runs, no hits, 2 errors. They had 1 walk. The lead off the game, that was it, because they just couldn't do anything against the pitcher Nick Sanderland of Sacred Heart. He struck out 15 Freeze batters en route to a Freeze 10-0 win. Freeze 10 runs, 12 hits, no errors, strand 8 on base, but 2 hits by Nick Sanderland and a great pitching performance. Liam Larson had 3 hits, a couple hits from Micah Zavril and Jace Model as well. 12-hit day for Sacred Heart as they improved to 2-1 with a 10-0 shutout win over the Northern Freeze. Freeze will drop to 3-3 after the loss. So a couple of games. Freeze defeat Kits County Central 3-1 in 11 innings. Sacred Heart defeats Northern Freeze 10-0.
Thanks, Mark. Some good baseball games in Kenny yesterday. The third game up there that we did not cover for you, but Sacred Heart taking on Kits County Central. Sacred Heart winning that one 12-2. It was Winnie-Mac winning over Lake of the Woods 15-5, and Red Lake County all over Crookston 14-4. High school tennis yesterday. Thief River Falls boys dropping a close one to Crookston 5-2. Crookston winning that one yesterday afternoon. We'll tell you about the Minnesota Twins and the Minnesota Timberwolves coming up here in just a little bit. So scheduled activities today for you. We were originally supposed to have Fosston and Thief River Falls. That game has been canceled. So we'll have West Marshall taking on Northern Freeze this afternoon on 94.1 The Falls. Mark will have that one for us this afternoon. Sacred Heart taking on Red Lake County. War Road at Monaga. In Park Rapids, they'll also take on Park Rapids in a doubleheader for War Road today. High school softball schedule showing Thief River Falls at Fergus Falls, War Road at Proctor, Crookston at Northern Freeze, Sacred Heart at Norman County East Ewan Hitterdal. High school track showing Thief River Falls boys and girls there at Walker Hackensack Akeley. And the Twins will open up a 3-game weekend series against Tampa Bay. More on that coming up a little bit. Also, the playoffs continue for the Wolves and the Wild as well. So let's get to it. Let's start with the lights and the glamour of night number 1 of the 2026 NFL Draft. They have come and gone. Rounds 2 and 3 tonight from Pittsburgh. Las Vegas Raiders, as everybody pretty much knew, was no big surprise. They did select Indiana quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza, making him the second Indiana player ever taken first overall. The LA Rams really surprised everybody. But in a way, if you look at it, not really. They did select Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson at the number 13, even though they do have reigning MVP Matthew Stafford. They are preparing for the future with Ty Simpson, again, Alabama quarterback. Kansas City Chiefs moves up from number 9, or actually moved down from 9, moved up from 9 to 6 to draft cornerback Mansour Delaney, while the Buffalo Bills traded back 3 separate times, ending the night without even a first-round pick entirely. Minnesota Vikings selected defensive tackle Caleb Banks from the University of Florida with the 18th overall pick. Banks is an impressive interior defender, standing 6'6", 327 pounds, widely recognized for his freakish physical traits, notably a 7-foot, 1.75-inch wingspan, the longest recorded at the NFL Combine for a defensive tackle since 1999. And he says with his strengths, he could be able to grow a lot with Minnesota. Vikings leadership, including head coach Kevin O'Connell, categorized Banks as a top 10 caliber talent who remained available at 18 due to limited playing time and some previous history of injury. Dallas Cowboys picked up a couple players, Caleb Downs from Ohio State, a safety, and Malachi Lawrence, defensive edge rusher from Central Florida. Miami Dolphins also busy on the first day, picking up Caden Proctor, offensive tackle from Alabama, and a 27th pick of Chris Johnson, a cornerback from San Diego State. There were 11 trades yesterday in the opening round, and a record-breaking crowd, too, of opening night, 320,000 people. Rounds 2 and 3 again today, get underway around 7 p.m. 4 and 7 on Saturday, starting at noon. Golden Gopher football team will have its annual spring game tomorrow at Huntington Bank Stadium. It'll be the final workout day for the team as it culminates the spring practice. Head coach PJ Fleck says he's been pleased with the team's approach this spring. Fleck also has hinted that he likely won't play some of his top-line athletes in order to make sure they are healthy heading into the summer workouts. Spring game is free and open to the public and starts at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Minnesota Timberwolves have their first series lead in the 2026 NBA drafts as they beat the NBA playoffs, as they defeat the Denver Nuggets 113-96 last night in Game 3 at Target Center. Head coach Chris Finch says this was an impressive wire-to-wire win. Minnesota never trailed during the victory and led by as many as 27 points in the third quarter. Ayo Dosunmu led the way for the Wolves with 25 points off the bench. Jaden McDaniels headed up with 20 points and 10 boards. Center Rudy Gobert had 10 points, 12 rebounds for a double-double. The Nuggets shot just 34% from the floor. Minnesota leads that best-of-7 series now 2-1. Game 4 is in Minneapolis tomorrow night at 7:30, 7 o'clock pregame. We'll have it for you right here on KTRF. Other finals from the NBA playoffs, Toronto Raptors getting a big win over the Cleveland Cavaliers to make that a 2-1 series lead for Cleveland. Scotty Barnes and R.J. Barrett made franchise history as the first Raptors duo to each record 30-plus points, 5-plus rebounds, 5-plus assists in a playoff game. Both finished with 33 points. Barrett hitting a postseason career-high 6 three-pointers last night. Toronto snapped a 12-game playoff losing streak against Cleveland by dominating the fourth quarter 43-23. James Harden led the way for Cleveland with 18 points in the loss. Atlanta picking up a win and leading that series 2-1 behind C.J. McCollum's game-winning shot with 12.5 seconds remaining to secure Atlanta's second straight one-point victory. Jalen Johnson had 24 points, 10 boards for a double-double, and 8 assists for Atlanta. So scheduled for the NBA playoffs today, Celtics and Philly for Game 3 there. That series tied at game apiece. It's the Lakers and the Rockets. LA leads that series 2-0. Spurs and the Trailblazers for Game 3 tonight. That series tied at a game apiece as well. Minnesota Lynx will be in Washington, D.C. for their preseason game tomorrow against the Mystics. The Lynx have been training in Minneapolis since Sunday and are working to build chemistry with a relatively new-look roster. Tomorrow's tip-off time set for 6:30 p.m. Speaking of the WNBA, the Indiana Fever have a plan to protect their star player, Caitlin Clark. They said on Wednesday that they needed to find somebody else who can handle the ball a little bit. Clark led the WNBA in assists during her rookie year, but was limited to just 13 games due to injuries last season. Head coach Stephanie White hopes that recent draft pick Raven Johnson can help alleviate some of that pressure on Clark. Indiana visits the New York Liberty in its preseason opener tomorrow. Minnesota Twins, could they salvage the rubber game with the New York Mets yesterday? Let's find out with Chris Atterbury and the Twins wrap.
Received 4 walks in the opening inning from Christian Scott, could only score 1 run, and then Joe Ryan gave up a 3-run homer in the bottom of the first, and the Mets were off and running. The Twins had all sorts of chances early, couldn't really cash in, but the Mets tagged Ryan for 3 more runs in the second, a home run in the 4th inning, and they were rolling, leading 7-3. They weren't rolling in the 8th. Ryan Jeffers clobbered a grand slam off Huascar Brazovon to tie the game at 7, and looked for all the world like the Mets were going to fritter another one away. Andrew Morris, back for his 3rd inning of work, gave up a leadoff single. Their sacrifice bunt sent him to second. Marcus Semien a base hit. Long and the short of it was 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs in the 8th, and the Twins just needed Anthony Bonda to get that final out. But he walked Tommy Pham, and that brought Bo Bichette into the box. Pitch to Bichette in the air, left center field. Puck's racing back after it. It's going to clear him. It's off the top of the wall. 1 run scores. 2 run scores. 3 runs scored. The bases clearing double for Bo Bichette, and it's 10-7 Mets. Huge moment for Bo Bichette. Place was on its ear. 2 quick outs in the Twins' 9th, and then what do you know? Brooks Lee base hit. RBI single. Tristan Gray. Byron Buxton double. Twins had runners at 2nd and 3rd. The tying runs for Trevor Larnach. He strikes out against Devin Williams. Twins fall short. 10-8 the final.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, just a tough night all around for Twins baseball, including Joe Ryan, who allowed 7 runs total, but only 4 were earned in 5 innings of work. Minnesota, with the loss, now drops to 12-13. Twin skipper Derek Shelton says his team's offense never quit even when they were trailing. Minnesota now sits in 3rd place in the AL Central behind Cleveland and Detroit. The 9-16 Mets have won 2 in a row after snapping that 12-game losing streak on Wednesday. Minnesota heads to Tampa Bay today to take on the Rays for a 3-game weekend series. Against they are 13-11 on the year. First pitch tonight, 6:10. 5:30 pregame this evening for Twins baseball right here on KTRF. Minnesota Wild had a day off yesterday to recover from that marathon double overtime loss on Wednesday to the Dallas Stars. They'll get back to work today at TRI Rink in St. Paul. That series 2-1 lead for Dallas with a chance to even things up tomorrow afternoon at Grand Casino Arena. Head coach John Hines talks about what they've been doing with the couple days of rest. Hoping to get some good news on Matt Zuccarello and others that are been missing with some injury. Game 4 is set for tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. 4:15 pregame for you for Wild and Dallas on Real Country 1460 tomorrow afternoon. Other finals from the National Hockey League yesterday. Buffalo Sabres with the win over the Boston Bruins as they lead that series 2-1. It was a 3-1 win for Buffalo. Alex Lyon made 24 saves. Alex Touch scored the go-ahead goal in the 3rd period to secure that victory yesterday. Buffalo trailed early but scored 3 straight goals to take the series lead. Carolina Hurricanes with the win over the Ottawa Senators. They lead that series 3-0 as Jackson Blake netted the game winner in the 2nd period for Carolina. Colorado Avalanche picking up a big win over the LA Kings as the Kings are on the verge of elimination. Cale Maker broke a 1-1 tie in the 2nd period. And again, Colorado leads 3-0 with the 4-2 victory over the Kings yesterday. So today, it's the Tampa Bay Lightning at the Montreal Canadiens. That series tied at a game apiece. Vegas Golden Knights at Utah Mammoth. That series tied at a game apiece. And the Edmonton Oilers are at Anaheim to take on the Ducks. That series also tied at a game apiece. Round 1 is complete of the PGA Zurich Classic in New Orleans. Alex Smalley and Hayden Springer lead the Classic after the first round with a 14-under par 58 to tie the tournament record. The duo recorded 12 birdies and an eagle during the 4-ball best ball session. Hey, how about this? Billy Horschel, Tom Hoagie, they are tied for 6 with about 6 other teams at 11 under par. Frankie Kaplan III and his partner Noah Goodwin, they are currently tied for 33rd at 2 under. And Bob, finally, the NASCAR series is in Talladega at the famous Talladega Super Speedway this weekend. They'll have qualifying today for Xfinity and Cup qualifying. Then they'll have the ARCA tomorrow afternoon, Xfinity Series tomorrow afternoon, and then the Big Jacks Links 500 from the famous Talladega Speedway Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
In famous Talladega.
It's a big track.
That was isn't that's a huge one, right?
Super Speedway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and they go fast. That's for sure.
Anytime anybody says that when I'm talking about NASCAR, I instantly think of Ricky Bobby. I want to go fast.
Well,
Oh man.
You know, some would say that's the appeal of NASCAR is you go from Bristol, Tennessee,
Yeah.
barely a half mile or
Right.
less, and then you go 2.5 miles,
Right.
and then of course they've got their road races there where they make right and left turns,
Right.
left and right turns.
Right. Yep.
And you gotta be at least a master of one of them if you're going to be out at the end of the year, if you're going to be a contender.
Oh yeah.
But you got to be competitive in all of them, and the super speedways are part of that.
And they have what, 2 of those like super short tracks, right? Where they basically burn up the brakes, they get up to speed, and then they slow down.
Yeah, there are a couple of small tracks.
Where the tempers flare, pretty good.
Well, I think they also know that racers know that if they're on a half mile or a 3/4 mile track, that there's going to be bumping and pushing.
Right.
Because of the small track and the tight quarters.
Yep.
And it's acceptable and allowed, and you are prepared for it.
Right.
But when you're going 220 miles an hour on a super speedway, you don't want anybody to touch you.
No. No.
We don't want nobody pushing you.
No.
So.
Oh man.
And they're aware of that. They're aware of that.
Part of me would love to take one around a track, but with like nobody else around me, right? I want nobody else around me. I just want to go fast.
Yeah.
That would be wild.
The Talladega is called a tri-oval.
Okay. Yep. I've heard that.
Like a triangle.
Yep. It's got some high banks too, doesn't it?
Yeah, the corners are pretty high banks.
Yeah, okay.
It's a little over 2.5 miles long.
Yeah.
So
It's a big track. That's a
is-
monster.
It is a monster track. All right. All righty. Wade, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
More sports coming up next hour. We'll have another update for you at 8:30 here.